Okay, so Wales were playing Georgia up in Nantes in the final weekend of the pool stages of the Rugby World Cup today. Wales have won 43-19. It was 17-7 at half time. Rees-Zammit has had a massive impact on the game in the second half. Very, very quiet in the first half. In fact, both Welsh wingers didn't get enough ball. Rio Dyer has done a very good job defensively today. It would be nice to see Rio Dyer get a bit more broken field play and get Rio Dyer involved into the game a bit more in an attacking sense. But overall, it was a decent win by Wales, considering that Anscombe has gone down injured in warm-up. So Costello, the third choice fly half, started the game. Dan Biggar had a pec strain. He was on the bench, didn't play a single minute in the game. He's just there just in case. So they're on their third choice fly half. I think that did have an impact on how the game played out, because in my opinion, the first half was scrappy. Most of it was in the middle third of the field. Yes, Wales obviously win that first half, 17-7. They get their tries from Francis and Liam Williams, and they get those tries off set play. They don't create those tries from full-flowing open play, length of the field, build through phases, and finally unlock the Georgian defence with the Welsh key. Oh, no. They come from set plays. They come from the set play off the line out, and a few phases later, they score. Now, the Francis try, okay, the rolling maul works. A couple of phases later, he barges over. That's brutality and brute force. That's not skill behind that. That's on 16 minutes, Costello converts. Liam Williams, there's a bit more skill with this one, with the pass from Costello and getting the ball out from the forwards after a few phases of forward play. They get it out. The back line keep their structure, and Liam Williams scores the try by running a very good line and taking several defending Georgian players out of play. And then the Costello penalty on 27 minutes. So there's a brief 11-minute spell where Wales are really good. They finally unlocks a very determined Georgian defence, and they've managed to score a couple of tries. The Shirakadze try is quite similar to the Francis try, as in it comes off set play. The Georgians were never really out of the game. I think the scoreline flatters Wales a little bit. And again, that's brutality and brute force. No skill involved in that, apart from obviously retaining the ball from the line out, going through a couple of phases, quick ball, and Shirakadze, the captain and inside centre, acting like a back row forward there in his ball carry, and breaks the game line, breaks through some tackles, and has enough momentum to reach out to touch the ball down over the line under the posts. Matkover converts that. But Wales lost a little bit of game management there. The first half was a bit scrappy, and you could say Costello wasn't expecting to start. He was expecting to come off the bench. He was expecting Anscombe to start. So that will disrupt a little bit of the preparation. About 40 minutes before kickoff, he's called up into the starting lineup, and he is their third choice fly half. He's had very limited game time in this World Cup, only 30 minutes, so he hasn't played a lot of minutes. Obviously, he's trained, he's worked with the scrum halves and the inside centre and the spine, but that does disrupt things if you've planned for Anscombe to be your fly half all week, starting fly half, and you've planned for Costello to come on when the game's opened up, when there's been substitutions and fresh legs are on the field and there's tired defenders out there. Costello is not a game management fly half. He's a creative fly half. So that does impact how you approach the game. I think that had an impact on the first half. Now, the Rees-Zammit first try after half-time comes from the Georgians overplaying. The pass hits the deck. George North picks it up. I'm still not sold on George North as a centre. His passing game is limited. He can't do the nice spin passes and the miss passes. It's just a little pop pass to Rees-Zammit, but Rees-Zammit has a lot of pace. And finally, we see Rees-Zammit in space, and that's a brilliant breakaway try, basically off the back of good defence. An area where Wales have struggled in recent years is their defence and their defensive fitness, all-round team fitness. Warren Gatland, while he can't cure all the problems that Welsh rugby has, he can cure the fitness side of things, the organisation and intensity side of things. And Rees-Zammit, that's off the back of good defence after several minutes of good defence, runs half the length of the field. Now, the Karkadze try is very similar to the Shirakadze try, again off set play. So while Wales have scored that opening try in the second half, it's Georgia who are the better side for a lengthy period in the second half. Karkadze, that's on 59 minutes. Very similar. Again, Georgia have finally sorted out their set play. Keep it tight, drive, get it over the line off a rolling maul. Matkover converts. Now, the Niniashvili try, he's their best outside back. Very fleet of foot, very similar to Rees-Zammit, very similar to Rio Dyer in his build and the way he plays the game. Very fleet of foot, very, very quick. Poor defence by Wales. He shouldn't be breaking the line that easily. While he is a quick player and a creative player and a very, very good, goal kicking option as well, and a good kicking option for Georgia when you're kicking to clear lines, he's also very, very good ball in hand. And for a slim player, he's quite tall, but he's quite slim, quite slight. He's got a lot of power. But the Welsh defence is really poor there. Finds a gap, finds a mismatch, and is through. And it's a brilliant try, and it lights the game up. Because then Rees-Zammit's bonus point try, now the game's opening up a little bit and becoming a little bit entertaining, a little bit unstructured. It's the bonus point try. And that's all Wales needed, was 1 point to finish top of the group. So that makes, I would say, their path from the quarterfinals onwards a bit easier. They will be playing the winner of Japan-Argentina, because that basically is a true knockout game. Now, Rees-Zammit, he scores his second try, and that's good support play when there's a kick ahead. Now, Liam Williams could have passed him the ball, and it would still be great support play because he's running a good support line with the fullback coming into the line. They've got out wide. It's a kick over the top from Liam Williams, and Rees-Zammit has the pace to skin anyone. He's one of the quickest, if not the quickest player in world rugby right now. Costello converts that. And that's the bonus point. That's all that Wales required, was just a draw, basically, to finish top of the group. Now, the Basham and Niniashvili yellow cards for the post-whistle scuffle. Yes, the very ordinary behaviour there. Yes, it is a high tackle. This is where Wales have let themselves down in this game, is their penalty count. Especially when you're in a winning position and a dominant position. The penalty count far, far too high today, which will be a cause of concern, is discipline. The Japanese are quite a disciplined side, so if Japan beat Argentina, that could prove an area. Argentina, a bit less disciplined. So, depending on who they play in that quarterfinal, the discipline is going to be key. And they were ill-disciplined. And Basham, that's a high tackle. Is it the worst one? No. His arm rides up around his neck and then around his head. Niniashvili didn't like that. There were some afters on the floor, and then the benches get involved. And now this is where I think World Rugby could look at this, because the Welsh bench get involved first, then the Georgian bench get involved. Both sets of players charge in. Now, obviously, back in the day, that would have been a full-blown brawl, full-blown punch-up. The game's evolved in the professional era, but if that was rugby league, or lower league rugby union, for example, that could still involve a bit of a punch-up. Really, it's just a bit of pulling, shoving, swearing at each other. Nothing overly physical, although the referee was annoyed enough to go to his TMO, go to his touch judges and go, I'm going to yellow card both these players because they've instigated something that hasn't been in the game. There wasn't any real foul play in the game up to that point. Both sides have played the game in the right way. They played hard but fair. And then suddenly you have this boil over and this frustration. Basham's been silly by giving away a silly penalty. You can understand the Georgian frustration. They were in a very good position at the beginning of the second half. They were they were within 5 points. And they were testing Wales. Wales had gone off the boil. Their game management had disappeared. And this was a potential upset on the cards. The Rees-Zammit tries changed that momentum a little bit. So there's a bit of frustration from Georgia. They think they've played well, and they have played well in periods in this game. But it sort of was unnecessary. Both players get yellows, but I think the bench is getting involved. That could prove very interesting what World Rugby do there. While it's not the worst, scuffle of players that we've ever seen, the benches do get involved in it, and we have seen with precedent that can lead to punishment. So while nothing was said on the field at the time, and 2 players get yellows, it will be interesting to see if anything else more is said about the benches getting involved, starting with the Welsh bench and then the Georgian bench getting involved. That could be interesting. Now, the Rees-Zammit hat-trick try where there's a chip ahead. Controversial. Did he get enough downward pressure? Was it a knock-on? There seemed to be a little bit of confusion with the TMO. Initially, the referee was unsure. The TMO's kind of word in his ear, obviously. It's given. There's not a lot of knowledge in the stadium. I wasn't sure if they were actually doing a check when actually the ref's given the try. So a little bit of question mark over that one. Did he actually get it down? Is there enough evidence to overturn it? So that will be a discussion point post-match and on social media for many hours, and a lot of Georgian fans and a lot of neutrals in the stadium weren't happy with it. I think some Welsh fans were a bit surprised it was given. So we can debate that Rees-Zammit hat-trick try for a while. That's going to rumble on. And then the George North try, where George North has finally gone back into his traditional wing channel, because, as I say, he's a very one-dimensional ball runner. And while that's great off set play, if you want to put him in the outside centre position off a set play, or put him in a first receiver ball carrying position off a scrum or a line out, fine. But in open play, he's not an outside centre. Let's be brutally honest. He does not have the handling skills. But when he's back on the wing in a wing channel, he's very, very good. Obviously, he started off as a winger. He scores his try right at the end on 79 minutes. Costello converts that. So Costello's missed a couple of kicks today, which is not surprising considering he was he wasn't expecting to be starting the match. I think the scoreline flatters Wales a little bit. Their game management disappeared at the beginning of the second half when they were in a commanding position. They looked a bit flat at times in the first half, a bit scrappy. They were rotating a few players. A few injury concerns coming out of it. Falatau, that's a wrist or hand or lower arm injury. That could be a dislocation or a break. So there's some concern about that. He did leave the field looking a little bit sore for himself. The Georgians have had a few players carted off as well. So there's some injury concerns coming out of this for Wales with Falatau. That's a key back row area. And obviously Anscombe in warm-up pulling his groin, and then you've got to look at Dan Biggar and how bad is that pec injury. Will they be able to manage it and manage him through the rest of the World Cup? So there's some injury concerns coming out of it, but it's 43 points to 19 to Wales over Georgia. The scoreline flatters them, and that Rees-Zammit hat-trick try, we're going to be debating that for a while. The yellow cards, I think, probably deserved with how the game was being played. Completely unnecessary. Some frustrations from both sides. I think the Welsh were a little bit frustrated with how they were performing, even though they're in a winning position. Penalty count's a bit too high. I think the Georgians were in the game until the bonus point try. There's a potential forward pass in that as well, which we haven't mentioned, to Liam Williams. The referee says it's flat. So some of the refereeing decisions in the second half raise a few eyebrows. But the frustrations boil over in what was actually a pretty decent game to that point. Scrappy but decent. You could see it was being played in the right way, and then it boils over. You could argue two of the Rees-Zammit tries a few question marks over a forward pass in the build-up for the second one, and did he actually put the ball down properly for his hat-trick? But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.